So as always, let's start by taking some time to settle down and letting go of the busyness of the day. Just a few minutes of being with yourself in a simple way, without needing to do something, without trying to figure something out, or just like this. And the possibility is that you allow your awareness to settle in the body. A little bit like if you stop to stir up mud in a glass of water, it starts to settle by itself. So in the same way, if you make a gesture of openness, a gesture of allowing, then suddenly and without any effort you start to notice, oh, there's stillness. There's also my thoughts and my feelings and the sensation in my body, and there might be some discomfort or restlessness or tiredness, but there's also stillness. And just rest in that stillness. There's a presence, a still presence, which arises, which is revealed, and we sit quietly like this as human beings. A heart connection. The blue sky outside can be a reminder of the sky-like spacious quality of presence. And this presence is grounded presence. And the breath is coming and going like waves on that ocean of timeless presence. An ocean of calm, an ocean of ease, in which everything is allowed to be exactly as it is. And then out of that ocean of calm, in the space in front of you, spontaneously manifests the Buddha. A being of light, alive, all goodness being manifest in that body of light. And maybe you have a mental image, but you don't need to work on that or concentrate with tension. Just see what comes up and feel the smile, which is the smile of the Dalai Lama and Lama Yeshe and other teachers who inspire you. And feel that radiance of loving kindness from your toes, from the sole of your feet up to the top of your head. And that radiance, maybe you can feel it or see it as a golden light, is particular softening and healing those aspects of yourself where you are hard with, where you are ashamed of. And if your mind wanders, then just gently come back to your body, to your breath, and to the presence of the Buddha, which is an aspect of your own mind. And just bring yourself along with whatever is burdening you right now, whatever you're struggling with. And bring it into that container of kindness, of friendliness, of wisdom. And feel how you are in the right place with all your struggles. Notice the eyes of the Buddha. Which aspect, which part of your body particularly needs care, kindness? Just allow that to happen. As if the Buddha puts his hand on your shoulders and says, relax. All is fine. Then when we recite the mantra, we just continue that process of being in his radiance, like sitting in the sun after a cold night. And we can also reach out to people we care about, people we worry about. And we see them sitting in the radiance with us, on our side, behind us and in front of us. So you don't need to stretch yourself, but maybe some people come to your mind. Tayata Om Muni Muni Ma Munye Soha. 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 And the Buddha in front of us, joyful. And then he dissolves into that radiance. And it fills our heart, our body, our mind. A moment of oneness. An ocean of effortless ease. And yet, just this moment, exactly as it is, same thing. this is the oneness we are looking for. This is what we are seeking. So tonight, as part of the exploration of how to establish a daily practice, I would like to go into the purification practices. And before that, starting again with one of the main themes in that module of establishing a daily practice, and that is the mind behind, the intentions, the motivations, the undercurrent in our life. Working with that, becoming mindful of that. Why do we do the things we are doing? What is the intention? What is the motivation? So that's what we looked into for a few evenings. And again, just to remind us that from the Mahayana Buddhist point of view, it's not so much what you do on the outside. So from the outside scene, you can be very spiritual, making the right moves, knowing the right names, and knowing the right mantras, and knowing where to buy a mala, which is this Buddhist rosary. And so it's quite easy to adopt a kind of Buddhist jargon. And then from the outside it looks like we are a spiritual person because we dress in a certain way, or we know how to make a prostration or how to fill the water bowls. So in the Mahayana tradition, what we are being asked is to explore what is the motivation behind the things we do, what is the intention. And this mindfulness can help us to really transform everything we do into spiritual practice. And nobody would know. From the outside, nobody would think, oh, this must be a Buddhist, or no strange things. Also, no showing off of exciting experiences, or just kindness and being decent and honest. That's what then other people would say. Oh wow, as a kind person, as a decent person, a reliable person, someone I can rely on, a good friend, a good colleague at working place. Considerate. Yeah, so considerate. So becoming mindful of that, this is really a key of starting to feel how each moment of your life is spiritual practice, is part of the journey. Going shopping and going to the toilet and doing your job and answering emails and paying your taxes and the whole thing. So it really helps to deconstruct this idea that there is like a spiritual practice which is separate from the rest of the life. So this is from Lama Zopa, from a little book. It's called The Joy of Compassion. It's from the first chapter, and this chapter is called Living with Compassion. What is it that makes your life easy and free of confusion and problems? What is the source of all happiness and peace? What brings happiness and peace into your daily life, allowing you to bring happiness and peace to others? So we are lucky he gives us the answer. And with all these Buddhist answers, it's about experimenting with it, yeah, trying it out. So, does it make sense? The answer yet, which is coming now. So our practice really needs to be based on our own understanding and our own experience. We need to check up. This is one of the quotes of Lama Yeshe, the other founder of this organization where this center is part of. Check up. That's what he said very often. I check up. And that's his summary of a known Buddhist quote from the teachings of the Buddha, where he says something, don't believe just blindly what I say, don't believe anyone just because this person is famous or it's a charismatic teacher, or but test the teachings like a goldsmith, it says in that quote. And like a goldsmith would test gold, like really making all the tests and trying out, is it real? And so what's the answer? What is the source of all happiness and peace? So his answer here now is, it's your attitude, the unmistaken attitude with which you live your life. The attitude by which you live your life, fulfilling your purpose of having been born human. And what is that best attitude that gives the most meaning to your life? It is living with compassion for the benefit of others. It is living with compassion for the benefit of others. When your attitude is that of simply seeking your own happiness, the attitude itself attracts many difficulties and creates obstacles to your own success. So that's something to explore, to lean into. That there seems to be I guess it's an experience we all have, that these moments where we are considerate, these moments where we share, where we feel that what we're doing makes a difference for other people, that our being makes a difference for other people, that really touches us deeply. And when we act in unconsiderate ways, when we step on other people's toes and hurt them, then we are unhappy. It makes us unhappy. That's really good news. So in the Buddhist teachings, an ethical lifestyle is trained not because there is someone watching us and he wants us to be a good girl or a good boy. In the Buddhist teachings, an ethical lifestyle is adopted because we understand that with an ethical lifestyle we take care that we are more at peace with ourselves, that we are more relaxed, that we have a feeling in the evening of just, okay, I did my best. And then we can sleep, and then we wake up without a bad consciousness. Consciousness? No. Conscience, yeah. With a bad conscience. Sometimes for this this kind of undercurrent in one's life, there's this word used. It's used. The word is used. Cherishing others. Yeah, cherishing others. That might be not the most skillful word for us, because we are not talking about sacrificing ourselves. So this this practice of making your life meaningful for others is, of course, based on starting to take care of yourself. It must start there, of course. Yesterday I was in Malmö and we explored the benefits of anger. And one theme which came up in that exploration was that one gift of anger is that it could be an indication that we're extending ourselves too much, that we are not taking care of us enough, that we don't see no early enough. So we extend yourself. You extend yourself. You stretch yourself too much. And then anger is like a friend saying, "Hey, you need to say something. You need to do something. Someone has, and of course, your territory, which you need, you work on it to extend it, and it's not fixed. Like one day it's maybe more flexible, and some days it's more fixed. So I thought that was a good insight to see the wisdom aspect of anger. So really, to see that, to see it in a very balanced way. Yeah. Yes, it's joyful to extend your capacity to serve others, to be there for others. And serve others is also maybe not such a good word. It's maybe better to say to be considerate. To just notice, wow, I'm surrounded by human beings who have the same needs as me, the feelings, and they want to be respected exactly like me. And the way I treat them makes a difference to them. Particularly also in your job. No, today I was in the Rix hospital, Rees hospital, and a very nice doctor. So these positions, they are so important, that these people work on their mind, and that they are aware that it makes such a difference for the people coming there. Even the people in the information, they should be trained in like kindness. they should do loving kindness retreats every year.
You don't feel they're doing that at the moment?
Today it was fine. Maybe because the weather was good. So whatever you do, so you have contact with people, you have customers or people calling you, or you have colleagues you work with, clients, some of you, and it makes such a big difference for them if you are considerate, if you really. So that's serving others, that's cherishing others. They are so big words. Sometimes it's good to translate it into a more modest language. And what is also important to acknowledge is there is not a should. Oh, you should be good. You should be good. So this teaching is based on the fact that it makes us happy, that it is our nature. It's in accordance with our nature. And it could be, or I guess it is painful to be honest and to acknowledge, wow, I'm really sometimes quite nasty. Wow, again, I was inconsiderate. Wow. And it's like it happens every day. Every day, where the main force behind our thoughts or what we do is, what about me? What about me? What can I get out of this for me? So there again, it's important not to use that to put yourself down or feel guilty about this, but to see, wow, yeah, that's how it is, and that's how also the other people around me act. And then to be happy for each moment where we realize, where we kind of extend that where we shift from 100% what about me to 95%. You don't need to think I need to do it from 100% to 0. So this 100% self-centeredness and the zero self-centeredness, in the Mahayana tradition, it takes 3 great eons to make that move. So I don't tell you how long 3 great eons is, because then you give up. Yeah, but it's really it's a long. It's like it takes really a long time to kind of slow. 99%, 94, 91. Very slowly. And then it is very inspiring to meet people who have done this and who have really made that shift, like Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Because then you see, yeah, wow, it's possible to live like that. There's people who are manifesting that in their life. And I spent some time with Lama Zopa, like just being around, and it's amazing. It's his attendant, who is with him since 16 years now, I think, something like that. He said, from the moment on, when I took that job, 16 years ago, we never ever had a break. And that's true. It's amazing. It's very inspiring to see that there's a person who is the most happy person in the world, really blissed out, but he does not think about himself at all. There's never like, okay, I think I need to sit down and have a tea. It does not happen. Or like, let's close the door. It's just like finished with talking with people. No appointments anymore. It does not happen. So I think the way where we start is to acknowledge those moments in our life where this is already there, and to really enjoy these moments and to see, wow, yeah, that is how it feels when I'm in that flow, in this flow of the universe. The universe wants to share, wants to evolve, and we are part of that. So if we're doing that, then then we have energy. So now it could be good to think about that energy, that openness, as something which is here, which is already there, which we discover. It's temporarily covered by the clouds of self-centeredness. And this self-centeredness is not based on some inherent badness, inherent badness, or something which is deeply screwed up within you. It is based on confusion. It's a mistake. It's just like it's a mistake. It's a mistake of perception. It's a not knowing, not experiencing who you are. So, and that's then the way of practicing is, to work with the clouds. So that the sky can reveal itself more and more in our life, and that we become more and more a manifestation of that dimension of our own being. And one of the practices which are offered in Tibetan Buddhism for doing that is purification practices. And I mentioned already that as when we act in inconsiderate ways, we feel bad about ourselves. It stresses us. And we might have problems to fall asleep, and we will have nightmares. So the purification practices, and I want to talk particularly about the practice of Vajrasattva, which is one of the purification practices. They are, particularly the practice of Vajrasattva is a practice which gives us the opportunity in the evening to do something, to let go, to let go, to forgive, to see, to do something with that residues, with that karmic residues. Each action which feels like incomplete, which feels like, I should have acted in a different way. That was not the most considerate way to do, or something. This action is incomplete, and it creates a karmic residue, a karmic energy, which will stay with us, according to the teachings on karma. So if you are inconsiderate towards another person, from the karmic point, from this point of view, from the teachings on karma, the action is not just finished and gone. It travels with you in you can say in the unconsciousness. They don't call it like that, but it's a kind of, one way to. It travels with you, and then it shows in our dreams, it shows in our body. If it's very strong, then it will show in sickness, and so it's a good idea, I think, every day, or at least many days, to have something in the evening where you have a sense, I can let go. I let that go. I made a mistake. I didn't act in accordance with my deepest longing, my deepest inspiration. And that is the practice of Vajrasattva. So I assume that some of you are not so much interested in a formal practice like that. But while talking about these purification practices, there's some principles in them which you could apply independent from a formal practice, and kind of come up with your own way to reflect in the evening, and to let go of this incompleted energetical residues from the day. So are there any questions or comments to what I said so far about the quote of Lama Zopa and purification practices, and then I will go into the 4 powers. Some some responses. Maybe you have a response to what I said. Yeah.
I have a question about the purification practice. I think
Mm.
it comes in the powers, possibly, so
Yeah.
you can also say just wait. But I'm wondering, sometimes I'm not really sure how much needs to be dealt with in myself and how much I need to deal with on the outside, like on the conventional level with the other person.
Mm.
Because sometimes a lot of it, I feel I can just kind of work with through purification practice, and then the next time I see the person, or whatever, or with my family, for example, the more relaxed I am when I see them,
Yeah.
then it's just much better.
Yeah.
But sometimes I wonder, if I'm kind of just saying, oh, I just do the purification practice and then I don't ever have to talk.
Yeah.
Then I just sweep it under the carpet. I'm not really sure.
Yes.
I guess is that just a checking of the motivation, or?
Yeah, that's so what you describe is it could fall into the category of spiritual bypassing. Let's say you are in a meeting and something is being said or something is happening which stirs up anger in you. So that anger is an indication that something is from your perspective something is bothering you, or something is stepping into your territory, or it's going into a direction you don't like. So spiritual bypassing would be at that moment to say Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum.
I've never done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know.
And then thinking, oh yeah, in the evening I will do a purification practice with that anger.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's a good example, because you have an energetic residue of that. It's like a, and you take it with you, and then you dream about it, and then you bring it into the next meetings, and so it's like that. So there, the anger could be again seen as one could use the wisdom aspect of the anger. Yeah? Oh, and the wisdom aspect of anger is this discrimination. It's like a sharpness to see something is wrong here. Yeah? If you are right or not, yeah, it's wrong from your own perspective. Yeah?
But you are saying to act out in a kind way.
Yes.
Not to, but
yeah, but that's difficult.
it's difficult
That's
because you have the energy.
Yeah, you have the energy. So that's like yeah.
So and that's why you might say, oh, think of something you think.
Yeah, okay.
Afraid, because
to kind of you calm down a little. But maybe then you still can. You can still at another point. I was in that position quite often when I was living in Nalanda, because I was responsible. So I had to look after the behavior of others, and that's not the role I like. So what I often did was that when I had that impulse to do something or to say something, I hold it, and then I went to my room and I did some loving kindness meditation, and then I reflected on it, and then I talked with that person. Yeah. So, and in a way, that's not spiritual bypassing, because I took this information and said, I need to say something, but I don't do it directly. I do it later. Yeah? And then, of course, when I do it later, then I have to work with the fear of speaking up.
Yeah.
And the anger is like kind of it helps me to overstep this step. Like, I don't need to look into my insecurity and in my fear to speak up and to point or to give a feedback to people or to correct people. So because I don't want to look into that, I just do it out of anger. But that's not. That's most often not the most constructive way to try to change things or try to get things done in a constructive way. So of course that's and there's no. It's difficult. I mean, you asking kind of, okay, what's the right thing to do, and that makes it. There is not the one right thing to do. So it is always. It is so. One possibility is it's all in you. The wisdom of knowing what needs to be done is in you. Let's say that. Let's kind of assume that something in you know the right thing to do. Yeah? So that's like part of the Buddha nature. It's like we have an innate capacity to feel, to know what's the best for the other person. So and that's then the question: how do we connect with that knowledge? How do we connect with our own wisdom? And then how can we start to trust it? Because that's then the other problem. Yeah. We have a sense, and then we don't trust it because we are taught to rely on intellectual thinking, or we have like stupid rules of behaviors, which didn't work for our parents as well, but that's what we have. Yeah. So that's like how to access that. How to accept that wisdom, that knowing and trusting it, and going with it. If I know the answer, then I will write a book about it. One teacher said to me, one question you could ask yourself, in this situation, what would be the thing which would benefit the most people, including yourself? So that would be, and then another, and then we have a break. Another method which I have been using now for some time for myself, and I found it helpful, is to start a dialogue with these aspects in myself, to start a dialogue with the anger, and to ask the anger. And the way you do it is that you localize where that emotion, or it can be also the sadness, to ask your sadness, or to ask the stress, or to so the way you do it is you localize it in your body. Where is it in the body? And then you stay with it. So you just you investigate into it, the shape, the color, the intensity, the qualities, yeah. And then for a moment you make a kind of split. You have the anger like as an entity in your body. So while you do that, you disengage from the story. Yeah, you don't try to figure it out, or what should I say. No, that's what we often do. We try to figure it out here, and it's often that goes in circles, and we don't connect with this inner wisdom. So then, and then you kind of make a split, and you ask that aspect, okay, what do you want me to do? Why are you here? How can you help me? I'm not saying this is one way which I found helpful. Yeah. So, Is that does that make sense? Yeah.
I'll be excited for the easy answer in the book when you. No, I'll keep working on it, but
Yeah.
I'll look forward to your book.
Okay. That's, I'm not,
Yeah, so write a book. That would be really good.
But if it's sadness or sorrow,
Mm.
and it's located in one place, you don't easily make it located in the body somewhere. I don't make it in shapes. I have it in my body as a sensation,
Yes.
some sort
Yes.
of sensation. So I will stay with the feeling and ask.
Yeah. Hey, hi.
Yeah.
Hi, sadness.
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just you kind of you just listen, and you take the response, and this can be an image, this can be a
Yeah.
yeah. So it might be initially not very meaningful. Yeah. So and for some people this is a very helpful way
Yeah.
to connect with the wisdom aspect, with the intelligence of these feelings. And of course, it's as with all these methods, it does not is not helpful for everyone. But
I also feel very often when I feel anger,
yeah,
if I investigate, then I realize that very often it comes from either like a hurt ego or pride, stuff like that. Like, how dare you say that to me? Like,
yeah.
And when you become aware of that, that can also help, like to find out, oh, that's why I got angry. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Find out why is this making me angry? What this person is doing or saying.
Yes.
And very often, it's the answer is inside me.
Yeah. Honestly, it's always.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we need to work with where we are.
Mm.
Yeah.
So could you say that the more you open up, the stronger it becomes, this fear, this anger, this anxiety, whatever lies beneath, that you repress with your normal discursive mind,
Mm-hmm.
that you in a way repress the emotions, and then you start to open up, they become stronger and stronger.
The experience usually is when you stop to repress, that emotions start to soften.
Yeah. Okay.
What makes an emotion so difficult is that we try not to feel it, that we try to suppress it. So so in that exercise, one side effect of that exercise, which I just described, is usually that immediately at the moment where you greet it, where you start to greet it and you pay some attention to it, it already starts to soften. It loses its sharpness. Because the sharpness comes from trying to suppress it, trying not to feel it. Wow, that's a big
I wonder what it was.
The ship. Okay. So let's have a break.
Men det skal man lige tænke på.
She tries to work with my mother. It worked for me really well. I like 50%, 75%, like they right? My mother worked like, it didn't work for 3 minutes, but it worked really well for her, like last couple of weeks. I think it's a kind of British woman.
Okay, I will try to.
Good luck.
Kan det være rigtigt? Ja. Skal vi ikke kigge på det på computeren? Det er umuligt, at du har gjort det. Nej, det må være umuligt. Men det would have these folders, remember we made folders? In here folder vi skal ind og kopiere ja, fordi vi har mange på nettet. Så har vi de der Pema Children, jeg kan blive til der. Det var også det er jo skal. Er det pizza? Og jeg har jo fisk. Ja, så er det sådan 80 kilo. Og jeg har, det kom til at sige, at når vi er så kan det der og købe, fordi jeg godt kan låne. Jeg har søgt for men vi kigger næste gang jeg er i Hostel, vi kigger på de der Pema. Og også lige her, der jeg lægger op, så kan jeg lære hvordan ja, den må være den
Es el de tu más.
Jeg vurderer her i så skal vi snakke det inden jeg kan snakke med dig om bare hvor det var jeg vil gerne snakke men jeg kan nok lære
Yeah, the elevator.
Que si el arte, que si el no sé qué, es que no hay nada que está no hay nada digo yo, no me tomo pero es como súper y entiendo la otra parte que estoy haciendo la broma. No, a mí cuando tengo eso de
So let's sit quietly for a few moments. So that's really the ground of our practice, is this capacity to be relaxed with ourselves. To be just relaxed. And here being relaxed means to allow, to let be, to create some space for who we are in this moment, without making a problem out of our feelings and thoughts and the sensation in our body. Just noticing what is and who we are and welcoming that. Just being relaxed, just rest with what is happening. And we can appreciate the ground, the earth carrying us. And we can also appreciate the heart connection, the warmth, just the connections here between us, but also the network of relations in our life. And then we can appreciate the sky above. So appreciating that you're an open system carried by the earth, connected within your heart with others. And the vastness of the sky. So we are truly rich. I want to give an introduction into the 4 powers, 4 aspects of purification practices. Some of you have heard this before. In that case, it is a reminder and an inspiration. And I have to stop a little earlier today, so we have to continue this next time. So these 4 powers, that's the 4 ingredients of every purification practice in the Tibetan tradition. And next time I will give you the Vajrasattva practice, and there you will recognize these 4 ingredients, these 4 powers. They are called the 4 opponent powers. The 4 opponent powers. So the first one is regret. And we have been exploring that, I think just recently we talked about it again, the difference between regret and guilt. So we are not talking about guilt here. So this regret means to admit I made a mistake. And that's difficult for us because since we have a strong tendency to believe in our innate badness, in our innate darkness, so we take a mistake as a symptom of who we really are, instead of saying, "Oh, this was a mistake. Why did I do this mistake? Because I was confused, I was afraid, I was insecure. I make mistakes because I stumble as everyone else." So this is an important moment to be really mindful and aware of the power of admitting a mistake without seeing it as who you are, without seeing it as an indication that something is really bad with you, something is wrong with you. Like something is really deeply wrong with you, and that's why you screw up. So this purification practice needs to be based on the teachings on Buddha nature, the teachings on our innate freedom, our innate beauty, our innate goodness. What Trungpa Rinpoche calls it brilliant sanity, like a innate, brilliant mental health, which is there. It's like the sky. And then this practice becomes powerful and healthy. And it can be a foundation for compassion towards yourself. Again I acted as this little boy. Yeah. Oh. So this is this helps so much to connect, to be honest, not to kind of try to cover up to yourself and others, and it helps us to be humble, to really see, wow, I stumble. Every day I stumble, and the people around me, they also stumble, and many of them, they not even have all these methods and support I have. So that can help us to be more tolerant towards the irritation in others and the tension in others. And so this can also help us to use these practices in relation to others, which is very powerful, to apologize. It's very powerful, and I think a beautiful way to apologize is to say, I made a mistake, punkt. Yeah. Not I made a mistake, but blah blah blah. Yeah. No, I made a mistake, I'm sorry I made a mistake. And I think if that is sincere, then it's quite likely that the other person will, open a sincere apology of saying, yeah, I'm sorry I made a mistake, without trying to explain it or without making it, without sneaking away from it, or like to the back door. I think it's so. That is, I think it's easy to feel how if we say I made a mistake, how that really, like, it bursts the bubble of that residue. It's like, no, I made a mistake. If this is based on self-compassion, then then you can immediately feel there's this relief, and you can actually measure that. There's this Stanford University forgiveness project, and they have done a lot of studies around people who work with letting go and forgiveness, and you can immediately measure that in the stress indicators. When someone admits the mistake and says, I made a mistake, I'm so sorry, then there's some response in your system. So in the Vajrasattva practice, what you do is, or what you can do, is that you go through the day and you think about these things, and you see where your mind goes to, and then you say, yeah, I made a mistake there. But also, one can use it to work with something which is quite a long time ago. Like many of us, since we have not done Vajrasattva practice 20 years ago, so we carry this residue still in our heart, in our body. So for that, it is sometimes helpful to do like a weekend retreat, or there's this traditional 3 months retreat with Vajrasattva, where you then work on this burden of things, of incompleted actions from the past. So one way to start the Vajrasattva practice is to start with something from the day, but then also to go back and just to see what comes up. Yeah, it is a common experience when you practice mindfulness and you spend some time with yourself more quietly, that things from the past come up, and that's not wrong. It's very common if people do retreat that things from the past come up. Things which are still incomplete. So then the Vajrasattva practice is an opportunity to work on that and to let go and to open. And it's obvious that, and that's also your experience probably, that we need to return sometimes to these things. So sometimes it's like we work on it, and then there's a sense of, okay, I let go, I have forgiven that, it's behind me. And then a few months later, then we realized, no, there's something else still in that. Yeah? And then we go back there. So it is said in the teachings on Vajrasattva that the practice of Vajrasattva is particularly powerful if that regret is really like an experience. Like, of course, if you do it on a daily basis, it will not be like this all the time. But you know, if you have some space and you have done something, you know, see if you can really connect with the experience of regret. Yeah. Oh, I made a mistake. Any questions or comments to regret? There's probably other things to say about this. So in the teachings it is said to regret whenever we regret something, even like quite often this regret starts to already. It starts when we do the action or shortly after. So this regret is really a powerful antidote towards these karmic residues. Yeah.
But how to say I regret without punishing yourself?
Yeah.
Because that would be an attitude.
Yeah.
Maybe a cultural attitude. Oh, I'm bad.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm bad again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm horrible.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I'm wonderful. I'm not worthy of being here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it seems that you are aware of that. So that's so that's of course that's good, because now you know this is not what this is meant to do.
Yeah.
So if it does it, it could be maybe if it's really like this, then maybe to work with something else than a purification practice at that time. If it goes like into that direction all the time.
It will have a tendency.
Yeah.
I think I'm not alone
Yeah.
about it. It will have a tendency.
Yes.
Because it's cultural.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's working on the subconscious mind.
Yes. Yeah.
Just-
Yes.
So you have to be very sharp to
To detect it.
Yeah.
One response to when that arises is if you can connect with compassion, with self-compassion.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yes, oh yeah, here I am again, and
Yeah.
yes,
So-
that's, yeah, and it comes from my upbringing, and it comes from the culture, and and so then maybe you can soften that. And then it could be good in the beginning of the purification practice to see if you can connect with the like the way I do it in the beginning here, like just relax, and
Yeah.
the goodness and the Buddha and the sky-like nature of your mind, and so to first to connect with the resource,
Yeah.
to say it more psychological.
Yeah.
To connect with the resource before you start to look at that what you want to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and in Buddhism, that resource would be the connection with the Dalai Lama and the refuge and the bodhicitta, the connection with the open heart, and the teachings on Buddha nature. And to base the purification practice on that. And it is the case that, as with any practice, you start actually with that. That's what the first thing is: taking refuge, cultivating a good motivation. So each formal practice, you start with creating a safe container where you feel safe, where you feel protected, and where you can look at the shit because you are in a safe container. You're not alone there. Yes.
What if it's not myself but somebody else? I mean, somebody else that has damaged you, me.
Yeah.
In a way that has many consequences. I think that's more difficult.
Yeah.
To me or others. I mean, but I think that's more difficult to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, so then we go more into the theme of forgiveness.
Yeah, but
And in this purification practice, one aspect of the teachings on karma is that there is a connection between what other people do to you and what you do and what you have done. So not in the sense of I deserve this, yeah, but in the sense that now it becomes, as all the time, it becomes complex. Because on a superficial, if on a not in a superficial level, when I just put the karmic teaching into a nutshell, then it becomes quite. It can be easily misunderstood. But one could say that everything what happens in our life is a reflection of our own state of mind, state of heart. Yeah. So now, of course, we hear it. Oh, I deserve it, but that's not. It's just cause and effect. There is no punishment in it or something like that. It is. We do something, and each action is not just finished, but we carry it with us, and it will have results. So thinking like that, then one could. Let's say I take an example which is not so emotionally charged. Maybe it's good to start with that and not with the most difficult thing in one's life. Yeah. So let's take the example of your bike is stolen. Yeah. And so in the worldly view on that is. It's a mistake of another person. Someone did this to me. So the karmic point of view is this is an expression of a habit you yourself have. It's not happening just of chance. The person stealing it from you is just like a condition, which is a reflection of some habits you yourself have. So. Then this purification practice, like my bike is stolen, would mean, oh yeah, I think it's time to look into my habits of how do I respect the property of others, and can I fine tune there? Can I be more decent in that area, respecting the property of others? Where do I misuse the property of others? Where do I not care about the property of others, for example, the property of the center, not in the way I would care about my own property. Yeah. So, and then that would be then an action, something which happens to you, like your bike is stolen, is an invitation from the universe to reflect on that and use it in your purification practice. So now, I don't want to go into this like with the most horrible experience, yeah, because then maybe initially we need to do something else rather not using this thinking that could be not so constructive.
But is it possible to see it like that one would begin with accepting that one is not complete, that one has faults.
Yes.
So if you accept that, and then you go like what we've been discussing, that by understanding that, you don't blame yourself. You understand it. Like if you regret something, you know it's because you're not complete. You're not.
Yes.
So it's about this kind of. I would for myself think maybe I would start to accept.
Yes.
And then I could act like
yes.
that. So it's,
yes. That's a very good point. And when we were sitting quietly just after the break, that's what I wanted to introduce. Like, okay, we are here and we relax with that, and we relax with our imperfection. We make peace with what it means to be a human being, in a very radically, and that gives that space and that freedom to actually then see, here I can work something, here I can do that. Yeah.
and then you don't blame yourself.
Yes.
You understand it.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Yes.
I just want to say one short thing that helps me. I haven't really worked totally with the most difficult things, but I think just to add with the understanding of karma, it helps me a lot to think about multiple lives and eons, because then I'm not trying to trace, like in cases of abuse or things that are happen very young, where I'm not saying, well, what did I do as a baby to deserve it? So it can actually, it lightens it up a little bit for me in saying, well, I'm never really going to know what the karmic causes is for this, and I can just kind of let go and work on forgiveness and purification without having to understand really formulaically what it was. So I just wanted to add that, because there are these most difficult things that somehow can't.
The teachings on karma, they don't make sense if we don't include the teaching on past lives. In my own practice, what I found is that if I explore what could be the karmic causes for this action, that I kind of get an answer. Like you can develop a kind of sense. Like what could be the karmic cause for my bike being stolen? Yeah? So, and then it's like an intuitive knowing, an intuitive answer can come from that. Yeah. Sometimes it can be quite powerful that it's like, I almost remember. Yeah. I almost remember. Yeah.
When I experimented with the Vajrasattva, it was very beneficial for me and easy for me to do when I did it with things from this life, things that I actually remember, that I regret. But then I read more about it and realized that I was encouraged to also regret all the actions from former lives and all the karmic material that I brought along, and that felt much more difficult to actually have to say, I'm sorry for all the people I killed 1,000 years ago, something like that. You know what I mean? That was
I can
to deal with.
I can see that. For me, it was different.
Okay.
So when I, for example, reflect on the joy I killed mosquitoes, like I stopped with that 20 years ago, but before. And then I would imagine myself having the power and looking at people like as if they're mosquitoes. And that's sometimes you're brought up like that. You're brought up like looking at other people like mosquitoes. And you actually have the power to squash them, like we have the power to squash mosquitoes now. Then, as soon as I do that and I go back, I can see. And and that is for me a powerful way to connect with that possibility that I can do horrible things if the conditions are different than they were in this life. And that, of course, is the base of a compassion towards people who have been living in very difficult circumstances in childhood, and they come out of that as doing horrible things. So at one point, if you do this practice, you might stop to say, how can someone do this? It's like, how can be someone so cruel? Because you see, there is this tendency in me. And what happens with that tendency if food is scarce? If we suddenly in Denmark, food finished. So what happens then with our generosity? So for me, this kind of practice of like going back, it can be quite touching, opening to that. And without falling into that, so then there's this, without falling into the guilt and I'm bad and how horrible, and it's for me, I experience that rather as softening to the cruelty in this world, because I can't point to anyone on this planet with my finger and say, how can you do this? I can't do that. So and then if then there comes this, like, when you follow the instruction, the past lives, sometimes it's possible to make it really something you feel, not all the time, but sometimes it's possible. So I have to slowly slide out now, so if you try to be a little quiet when you clean up, so because I have a conference call, it's coming to an end. This is like 2 more, and then it's finished. I just realized we don't have so much meetings anymore before the summer break, because there's Rita coming, and then one Thursday Champa Lundrup is giving a teaching on Feng Shui, which is really interesting. So we all want to be rich and healthy, so that's a way. Of course, we want to be rich and healthy to use this life, to come here to the center and study and to do retreats. So that's why. But it's interesting to look into Feng Shui. It makes sense. It makes sense to me. And Venerable Rita, she will lead. She will do different things. But one thing she will do is that she will lead the traditional practice of Nungni, which is a powerful purification practice. And it's a Tibetan practice, so you have prayers and mantras and prostrations, and it's 1 weekend, and it's quite intensive. So I think if you are somewhat curious and open to this more formal practices, I would really recommend to try it out. It's not that easy, because there is this day where you don't it starts on Friday, so then I think on Saturday where you don't speak and you don't eat and you don't drink, and nobody died so far. It's so, and there's more to say about it, but maybe you can check it out on the website and try to find some information. on the internet on this practice Nungni, which it is connected with the Buddha of compassion. So it's a practice of connecting with the open heart. And then on Saturday we have our mindfulness day from 10 to 4. So you can join us either in the morning or in the afternoon or for the whole day. And on Sunday, me and Jette, we will start. It's like our first workshop with Mind the Music, which is a program using listening to music as a way to cultivate mindfulness. And so that's from 10 to 1, so you're welcome to do that. It's particular, the program is being used in schools, so it's developed for offering a mindfulness practice to teenagers, but we want to play with it, but it's particularly interesting for people who think about sharing it with teenagers or other people who wouldn't think about meditating. Yeah? And so that's on Sunday from 10 to 1. Okay, that's it with the advertising. And maybe if Karen, if you have something to say, then
maybe after, just so you can go. But I think
Yeah.
Alfredo wanted to make an announcement.